Hey,
Hey,
here we are, y'all.
you know what I was just thinking about?
What?
Our daughter says she wants to be baptized.
Oh, glory.
And I think that's amazing because she had been saying she wanted to for a long time and now she got her actual reason.
Yeah, man. So I think, let me tell you,
hmm
that thing has been a wrestle for me.
I know, I could tell.
I know, here's the thing, I know some people just be like, oh, my kids want to get baptized, or I want my kids to be baptized, so they go and do that, right? And I think there honestly is a right and wrong way to do this thing. I really do. I think 2 episodes ago we talked about, the foundation and all that kind of stuff and how we lay this foundation. I think it's important that we make sure we do that right. And I think also I feel like God has kind of been dealing with me on the idea of they know what they know.
Yeah.
At their age, and they're doing the best that they can. And I want to say my mom, even in hindsight, as I'm thinking about it, she said the same thing about us as kids. Like, hey, the Lord was dealing with her saying, hey, they know what they know. They know the best they can. Move with them in what they do know, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, where I was struggling was I wanted them to have a adult level understanding almost, right? And I can't expect that. Can I teach them the right way? Yes, right? But they only understand to the level at which, and I just have to guide them through it and walk with them and trust that the Lord has them and all that kind of stuff. So,
and I take it as how Jesus said, essentially, not to keep the children away.
Whoa, my.
And I think as adults, and even like for us, it's like, well, why do you want to get baptized? And that's important because but I also know that at their age, there is a space of their comprehension and understanding and love for God that God still does honor. Now, granted, I'm also aware of when they get older and they start dealing with more adult things, that the wrestle will be like, man, I didn't have to deal with this when our daughter is 6. If I didn't deal with this when I was 6, I'm 16 now, things look different. I'm 26 now, things look different. But I believe the seed is still sown at that age of 6, especially if it's what you want to do. And every time we ask, she's like, because I want to live for Jesus. Because I love God.
That ain't what she always said.
No, now that's what she said.
Oh, that's what she's saying now. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's right, because you had the most recent conversation with her. I wasn't there. Sometimes, my wife calls me an unpresent father. I'm just not there for certain conversations. And I missed one of the most important conversations of my daughter's life. So look at me. This is why it's her podcast and not mine. No, all seriousness though, I'm grateful that you were able to have that conversation with her. Because the last time I asked her why she wanted to get baptized, she said because she wanted to be on stage. And that is something we got to shut down. That's something we got to shut down. I can't feed that monster. No, I can't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But no, I think that's dope.
Yeah.
I think that's dope. But being a parent, that's a believer that desires to have kids that are believers is a very interesting space to walk in. It
is, because I want them to have the boringest testimony that they could possibly have.
Yeah, you made that very clear many times. Me personally, if they gotta bump their head to learn, they gotta bump their head to learn.
That's fine.
That's a real dad thing to say too, though.
It is, but let their bumps be like, I was really struggling on a test. I thought I was gonna fail this class,
and I cheated. Like that's the most you want to do. You don't want them to end up on heroin.
Absolutely
and the Lord does a miraculous deliverance of that.
No.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I want them to be like, you know what? Something told me, but then I realized the Holy Spirit.
My God, today, come on, Holy Spirit.
That's just where I'm at.
No, that's no. We're blessed, man.
We really are.
We got four babies, and I really want their soul to be saved, man. But my wrestle is making sure that I live this thing out for them the best that I can. And I don't do that all the time, y'all. I don't do that right all the time. But the Lord is working on me. Wow. 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 Wow.
All right. We both don't.
Yeah. Because you be hollering at me in front of them.
No.
Tell them about that time you yelled at me in front of them.
I don't.
No, she don't do that, y'all.
I don't.
She doesn't do that. Let me clear that up, because I don't need nobody watching this thinking she's so soft spoken on the podcast, but she at the house moving furniture. Nah, she don't be doing that. She don't.
The thought of that is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about? This is going to be actually a pretty heavy topic.
Yeah, because we are talking about like sex before marriage and how that impacted our lives into our marriage. Because let's be honest, right? Sex is a big key and a very important component to marriage. Right? Yes. Tell them what you learned about the part that sex played in marriage back in like the Old Testament. Give them a little teaching on that really quick before we dive into our story.
Okay, so for those who are unaware,
do you have notes on that?
I don't. Well, I'm sure I do. I'm sorry, my Bible.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
What sex means
in marriage from the Old Testament? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say, and then you tell me if that's what you would think.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's just see.
So in the Old Testament, when marriages were about to happen, it was not a wedding. It was, and he knew her, and that was the marriage.
And that's the King James version.
Yes.
He knew her as King James. Wow, you super saved. Come on, holiest of holies.
Anyway, but it is in the sex that marriage happens. That is how God determined marriage, because you're now becoming one flesh in the physical. And now that is also binding the covenantal oneness that is happening in the spiritual as well. And with that happening, that is what determines who your spouse is. Now, if we look into how things look now, we have multiple partners. You've now made multiple covenants, which then filters into multiple soul ties.
My God.
And that also is very impactful into marriages or just relationships in general. But if we do look at Old Testament and we look at what sex actually means, that is marriage.
Yeah.
That is just really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And because we know that God is the same today, yesterday, today, and forevermore, sex is just as important now as it was in the Old Testament, and it still has its impact in the marital aspect.
Now, and that's crazy, because if you're telling me that God's design was sex is the thing that what they say consummated the marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Or made a marriage what it was, and now we're just flippantly doing this thing all the time, coming into all these multiple marriages, essentially. Like, we really wonder why we struggle.
Yes.
We're wondering why things like depression and anxiety and all these sorts of things are at an all-time high.
Right.
We haven't even gotten to the place that pornography plays into this or whatever.
And
but
that's even deeper too.
But it is very heavy, and I think we downplay it. Now, let me be very clear about something, because again, I know I play all the time, but I just want to be serious. In no way, form, or fashion are we speaking from a place of arrived and have done this thing correctly. Like, they're gonna see how raggedy we really are here in a second, right? Mm-hmm. But man, sex is not a game.
It's not.
And we have treated it like one for so long, and our culture has normalized it in a way that is damaging believers and unbelievers just alike.
Yeah.
And it's tough. And to your point, like you said, that plays a big role once you go into marriage. Now, there's hope, folks. Just because you've had sexual experiences before you got married and things like that, and it's playing a part in your marriage, it doesn't mean that God can't heal you and can't heal your marriage and redeem you and transform your life and renew your mind and all those sorts of things. He absolutely can, because there is nothing that God can't do, and there's nothing that is too hard for the Lord. But we just kind of want to start this episode by saying, like, yo, this is big.
It is big.
And this is something that we hope and pray that one person at a time, we can change our culture back from being so flippant about something that is so spiritual, so powerful, so major.
Yeah. I think God cares a whole lot about sex, and it's something that we don't really talk about so often. We just say what not to do, and we don't talk about the significance of it.
Yeah.
And when I was looking, because I didn't want to just talk, my mind immediately went to Isaac, who wanted to choose Rebecca.
Oh my!
But
you bring the Bible out early. Let's go.
I know, because I believe that's where Leah comes in at.
Oh, talk to the folks then.
In Genesis,
it's your podcast. Remember, I'm just here.
Enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're unsure, get your Bible and read Genesis 24, and that is where we hear about Leah. Wait, where is that at? No, is it? Am I right?
No.
I'm not right.
I think Genesis 24 is Isaac and Rebekah.
It is Isaac and Rebekah. What am I thinking of? Leah. Because
Leah and Rachel.
Leah and Rachel.
That's Jacob.
There you are. Same family.
That's the next generation.
That is. Mm-hmm. That is. I'm a little too early. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So not there. Keep turning your Bible.
Yeah. Maybe just tell the story. Okay. We can put it. Post edit is a beautiful thing.
Okay. So Isaac wanted to marry Rebekah. No. Jacob wanted to marry
Rachel.
Wanted to marry Rachel. And he told the father of Rachel and said, hey, I want to marry your daughter. But secretly, the father gave him Leah. Why he did not know that he was with Leah, I'm unsure. Mm-hmm. But he secretly gave Leah to him. And then because the sex happened, he was stuck with her. Mm-hmm. And he was unpleased with that. Mm-hmm. And he had to do some time, basically serve the father for him to eventually get Rachel. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just I had sex with the wrong person, so actually that's not who I wanted. There was a binding that happened with that sex. Yep. And because of that, he still had to stick with who he married because marriage was tied to sex. Yeah.
I think that's, but see, let's talk about that in today's terms, right? Mm-hmm. We don't just get to walk away from marriage. And
no, I'm
going to say this. I'm a huge advocate for God has a specific person out there for you because I believe God is that intentional. I don't necessarily believe that God is just like, oh, just go find a believer and marry them. Mm-hmm. I think God is way too intentional for that. Yeah. Right? I think in his sovereignty, he doesn't want us to get, so bogged down in the, you paralyzed, you don't make a decision or things like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think if you seek the Lord, he will show you who it is that you're meant to be with. Again, I believe he is that intentional.
Absolutely.
And yes, he does work outside of, and his sovereignty, he does work to where if we don't make said right decision or whatever the case may be, that he's still good, right?
Yes.
But if you make a covenant, God is expecting you to keep that covenant.
And that is in Genesis 29.
Yeah. If you make a covenant of marriage, he expects you to keep it, right? That's why you don't just be like, oh, I think I married the wrong person, let me get out. Or if things aren't going well, I just want to get divorced. Like God is like, no, we keep covenants around here.
Absolutely.
We keep them because that's what a covenant is, right?
Yeah.
And that's super, super important.
It's very important. So this is just an important intro of understanding that sex is not just as John said, a flippant thing. It's not just something that we just do casually, because I believe that's just the blindness that the enemy wants us to walk in of just figuring, oh, it's just sex, whatever. And I just like to try it, or I'm just, I don't even want to commit.
Yeah.
But little do you know, you're marrying spiritually and becoming more bound and tied to these people that you're unaware of.
Oh, absolutely. I think, so for me, like sex again kind of came in early. I think I've mentioned a few times on the past episodes like that, pornography was a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Come across some pornography in my house that belonged to my dad really, really early on. I don't even know if he knows that I came across something of his, right? A little magazine or whatever. But from there I was hooked. I was intrigued. Anytime I came across it, if I seen it on TV, just all that kind of stuff, I would engage in it, man. That lust had me down bad. I'm talking about down bad. Do you remember when they used to have like pay-per-view channels?
Yeah.
So I remember one time I messed around and bought up like 5, 6, 7 pay-per-view vids. And
on the TV.
On the TV, fam. On the TV. when the parents at the house, Jamia laughing so hard back there. That is wicked.
That's
the producers
stressful.
Are laughing. But no, it really happened, y'all, for real. That really, really happened.
That's stressful.
And my parents found out, and I just knew I was gonna die. There was no punishment that was coming. I was going to die. They were gonna kill me. They were gonna get me out of there. Firstborn son was done for. And I think
lose your inheritance.
And I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think they were upset, but I think my dad was more crushed than anything that like, yo, my son is in this. And it's got him bad. I'm talking about I had it bad, man. If I was left alone with access, I found it. Now again, as I get older into my teenage years, I remember doing there used to be this thing called True Love Waits that they used to do like back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was like this purity pledge that they would have like kids at churches do.
Oh, okay.
And I remember taking this pledge, and I had like this little purity ring and all this kind of stuff. Like, hey, I'm not gonna have sex before marriage. Man, by the time I got to my senior year, I was just like, you know what? I cannot leave high school without getting me a taste. Without getting me a piece. I got to get me a piece.
Would you say like music videos and stuff like that, and movies, and then the porn, all that stuff influence, and maybe like front environment influence that desire?
I think all those were the junior reasons. I think the biggest reason senior year was peer pressure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everybody else had done it.
See, I'm not.
And I didn't want to be the only one that hadn't.
I'm just not a guy.
Spoiler alert, I graduated high school with no sex. It didn't happen. I tried and I tried.
It was like super bad.
What a loser I was. Right?
I don't understand that male life, because that really
it's hard, man.
Like,
it's hard, man. It really is. It's hard because our culture has taught us wrong for so long.
Yeah.
So then eventually I do lose it. As a matter of fact, I lost it. I lost my virginity the summer after my freshman year of college. So now I'm literally no longer physically pure. Like I've watched porn. Now I've had sex.
Yeah.
Right. And then I had more sex in college. Now I wasn't just the most sexual person in the world or whatever, but I was having premarital sex in college. And I remember, and this is like super transparent, right? I remember sex was not an easy thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Even as an unbeliever, right? Like I was having it, but it was a struggle because I had watched so much porn. My mind had been warped and all these sorts of things.
Brain chemistry is affected.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff, man, to where I would have like performance anxiety.
Yeah. Like
either I would have a hard time like getting going, or like I would finish early. Like it was just a rough go. And I think all of this was a result of, strangely, I feel like it was partially me just not being pure. And holding, walking in self-control, before marriage and all these sorts of things. And then I think too, though, part of it, I think, was God's grace in a way.
Yeah, to keep you from being a whore.
I think so. I honestly do. Because fast forward to our marriage, I've never had that issue in our marriage.
Yeah, God is good.
I've never had that issue in our marriage. But that doesn't mean that we didn't have sexual issues that were brought into our marriage.
Yeah.
Like, again, having past partners. And then 2, me not believing that poop stinks. And I thought that marrying you was going to fix my pornography issue, and it didn't.
It did not, yeah. But before we get more into that, I got to bring in my whole thing too.
Right, because you had some things that you brought into the marriage.
I did.
Right?
I don't know.
I didn't laugh, y'all. She laughed. Remember that. I just want y'all to know. She laughed.
It's a nervous laugh.
Yeah.
Because and I was saying yesterday, it's so trauma-based, it's just so annoying. But I think because of that, though, it really has brought me to a place of deeper intimacy with God that I just don't know if I would have had.
Yeah.
Like, because the way I've had to cling on to my Savior is without,
He'll use these things, though.
He will.
To draw us close to him.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? How though sin separates, it could also draw us close to God in a way.
Absolutely. Because then you're like, wait, actually, I do know you as a healer.
Yeah.
I do know you as a comforter.
Yeah.
I like, sure, I need comfort for these other things, but I really need comfort. Yeah.
100%.
So my sexual past, it really actually started when I was like a child. Mentioned yesterday, we talk a lot about leaving your child with like adults. Y'all should watch Who You Leave Your Child with when it comes to other children too, because you don't know what's going on in their households either.
Yeah. You don't know what they've experienced, what they've been exposed to, any of that.
You have no idea. Yeah. And there's a lot of times where my mom would, at this point, it was just me and my mom. My dad had passed away, and so my mom was out there dating. She was out there trying to get to. I didn't know this at the time, but I found out now. And I actually texted her, and I was like, you know what? Thank you for not bringing strange men around me.
Yeah,
because she never did that. I don't know any of these men that she was dating, getting to know.
Yeah. Your mama crazy, but she ain't that crazy.
You know, no, my mom was actually very protective.
Yeah, no, for sure she is.
In this sense, she just didn't know, because this was a cousin that I was left with, and she was only a year older than me, so it would be like, oh, like we're close cousins, but whenever we were not supervised, she wanted to do other things that I had never been exposed to, and she was. And so that would always make me very uncomfortable. I didn't care to do that, but that was literally my first exposure to anything sexual.
Yeah.
And then I had kind of like heard of, I didn't hear of porn. I think I had seen something. I think like we watched like an HBO movie once upon a time, and then once it's over, once it's like past 12 or 11 or whatever,
it got filthy. All
of a sudden, softcore.
And that was the thing.
I don't remember, and I was left unattended a lot. Like, it should have been like, no, toilet, go to bed. Like the movie is over.
Yeah.
My parents would be asleep, and I would still be like watching a movie because I just loved movies or whatever. And that was my first exposure to ever seeing anything like that, and it scared me. I was like, oh my God, no. But then I also was like, is that what I'm supposed to look like when I'm older?
Oh.
So I was just more so like curious, but not curious enough to see, not curious enough about what was happening, but more so like curious about the woman body. Of like, oh, I didn't know that's what it's supposed to look like when I'm older, because I'm only 11. So that was just that. But I was not sexually drawn to any of that. That wasn't something that I was really that interested in. And I also had the mindset of like, by the time I actually knew what sex was and everything, I thought it was gross. I thought just it being, you take a sex ed class.
Yeah.
And it's explained to you. You see the little image of like the little tadpoles. So like I was just like, that's disgusting.
Oh, the school did a very good job of deterring.
It's just it's very medical.
It's real matter of fact.
And and then even like my mom explained it to me about what happens, and I was just like, I just don't see how that's like, like it just was not. It didn't interest me at all. And people who liked it, I just thought it was like, it's like, I like vanilla, you like chocolate.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit more than that. It's definitely a lot deeper than that for sure.
Yeah, and I think even in high school, like I was a virgin, but it was I was worried about basketball.
Right.
I didn't care.
You had hoop dreams.
I had hoop dreams, and I just wasn't interested in any of that. I didn't have a boyfriend until I was, I think, a junior.
Yeah.
And it took a long time for me to even be comfortable with like kissing him.
Yeah.
Like that just wasn't something that I was that interested in.
Yeah.
So I really did have, similar to you, I didn't do a whole pledge or anything, but I was determined like I was gonna wait till I was married to have sex, because the idea of it just was not something I was that eager for.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. So with the things that you've experienced as it pertains to sex, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm fast forwarding too far into the story, but like, do you think it affected our marriage and in any way, form, or fashion?
And the things that I did experience?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 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 So, also Lifetime movies did a good job of deterring me from sex too.
Right.
Them disease ones, like the
the disease ones.
Yeah, they had Lifetime movies for like teen Lifetime movies, and it was like there was ones where like teenagers were getting like STDs and stuff, and I was like, oh, absolutely not. Yeah. Like I used to love it, but but it also, that did a good job. But
I remember in high school there being a lot of things out there about STDs.
Yeah.
Showing the high schoolers like, yo, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to have sex. This is out there, and it's like,
I was like, absolutely not. That is disgusting. That's scary. Like, yeah. So that did a good job on me too. I might find that, play that, make sure when our kids are older, play that for them. Anyway.
Oh God.
So by the time I got to college, though, I went across the country, went to HBCU, and it was there when I had my first actual sexual encounter, which was sexual assault. And in this case, just for a little bit more detail, they had you get a big brother and a big sister when you go onto campus. And it was my big brother that invited me over to his house. And I thought he was cute and everything. I was like, we're going to go on a date and, whatever. In my mind, the biggest thing is maybe we'll kiss.
Yeah.
Elementary thinking, clearly. New to college, so unaware and naive of college culture. And so that ended up being like, and he also had put something in my drink too. I always kind of miss that part, but because I forget, it was a very forgetful thing, and I only had glimpses of it afterwards, and I obviously was in pain the next day too. So I ended up coming back home to California, and that really shifted my whole mindset of sex is this special thing, and you wait until you're with someone you love and all that stuff. I was like, oh, sex doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
And neither do I. I don't even matter because it's happened to me. And so went to school in California, and once I was introduced to drinking and smoking, and then I pledged, I was all things college culture, even when it came down to the sex thing.
The sex thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, I made a lot of covenants.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not funny.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yeah.
A lot of them where I'm just like, man, I needed someone to see what I was doing. But I also did a good job of hiding it. But they say statistically, if you experience sexual assault, you either go from one extreme to the other, where you either are hypersexual or you just don't want to be touched at all. And for a minute, I didn't want to be. I was just like, no. But the amount of attention that I would get would make me feel more so pressured because I didn't know how to say no. And I don't think and this is no fault of my parents, because you could only teach so much and be mindful of so much stuff to be like, hey, this is what you do when this happens. This is how you handle this situation, whatever. And stuff may be said, but I just didn't know how to be okay with letting people down. Oh, I don't want to let them down. So sure. And I started to just have a mindset of, well, I want to be in control. And I was in control of a lot. And so essentially when it came to us being married, then, well, actually, after I got saved, that kind of did the whole thing, because I was like, I don't want to have sex anymore. And I actually never wanted to have sex. I just felt like I had to. So it just felt like, oh, now I don't have to have sex anymore. For some reason, being I didn't have to even before I got saved, but something about getting saved was ooh, thank God. I don't have to feel pressured anymore, because now I'm with Jesus. But when we got married, though, was because I had already had a not a routine, but just a habit, a habit of just being like, oh, I need to have sex all the time. I expected it all the time. And I figured that you wanted it all the time, because what women are taught is that's all men want.
Yeah.
All men want is sex.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, oh, I'm the perfect person to be married to, because that won't be an issue. I won't be withholding, and I won't be struggling, or I won't be making you feel like you're, pulling teeth just to, whatever, because I'm already used to that.
Right. And see, so now kind of just to rewind, this is kind of me and you were a little bit different in college, right? So you had, let's just phrase it as you phrase it. You made a lot of covenants.
I was a whore.
Okay.
That's really what it was.
All right.
That's now, the truth.
Disclaimer. Just want y'all to know that this is her podcast, and she can call herself whatever she wants. But just know her husband never said those words. All right? I just want to make sure we throw that out there. Hey, listen. Anybody, okay, never mind. What I was going to say was... Okay,
I made a lot of covenants, yes.
Yes, what I was going to say was, so I post that first time of me losing my virginity, I did have sex outside of marriage again, multiple times, but I wouldn't deem myself the whore that people thought I was.
You had popularity, so people figured.
Right. They thought I was, but here's the thing. I was a little bit more strategic because I still was like I wanted to pursue a particular person.
You were looking for love.
I think I was. I think I really, really was. And that's probably why I ended up with a lot of heartbreak too. Because I would put all my eggs in one basket. And those would be the people that I would usually engage with, right? So, and I wasn't doing a whole bunch of talking to a bunch of people at one time and dating a bunch of people at one time and just sleeping around. It was all of them are cute, but like I like her and I'm pursuing her. Let me see how far I can get with her, and if things go well and we go further into the relationship, then we can bring sex in. Now, once heartbreak started happening, that started to shift just a little bit.
You started to try to learn game.
Yeah, man. So now I'm hitting up multiple people at a time, but I still wouldn't just jump to the sex thing with women. I was never that type. I was never the jump to sex after like half of a conversation. It was, what's your favorite color and where you from? And like I actually was trying to get to know these women before I got to know these women. But so now the question is, right, how does that then impact our marriage, right, differently than you? So you come in and you're like, I'm used to having a bunch of sex. I wasn't. Like I mentioned before, like even in some of those situations where I was pursuing certain women or whatever the case may be, I would get anxious because I'm again, the other piece is I'm playing the comparison game.
Right.
To watching pornography. Hey, I don't look like these guys. All these sorts of things. And but I want to be like these guys because it looks like these guys are pleasing women. This is what sex is supposed to look like. Like you're supposed to please them. They're supposed to respond this way, react this way. If they're not, you're not doing it right. So now I'm nervous, like, oh, am I going to perform appropriately? Right? Not learning and realizing or not knowing that, this really is all just smoke and mirrors. This is all fabricated. This is all performance. This is all performance. Right? So then that plays into what sex looks like. So then when I get to marriage, you wanting it all the time it just felt so aggressive.
But here's the thing too, though. I didn't realize I actually ended up having like a sex addiction. Though.
Right.
And so that was actually my issue.
Right.
So even though in my mind, I didn't know at the time though.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I have sex all the time. Yeah. Like whatever. But I was even doing it when I didn't like it. Eventually I came to wanting it like in college and stuff. But I didn't like, I would have moments where I would think like, man, I remember when I thought I was going to be a virgin until I got married.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
Look at you. Oh God.
I'm far from it. And I wasn't connecting the pieces of, oh, well, this happened and this happened. Yeah. I was just like, well, here I am.
And listen, neither am I. I don't even know how to make those connections.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
And I don't even know how to make the connections of my issues that are coming into it. Because now I want to have sexual intimacy with you and I want to please you. But at the clip at which you want to do it, I can't. So
I was like, we did it this morning, now we're going to do it tonight.
Right. So now I'm also bringing in the porn again because porn feels like a safe space still.
Right. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm making myself available. So
and I'm like, yes, thank you. But I've known them for the last 15 years. Right. It's wicked. It's wicked. Which
is true. And yeah, and so that ended up filtering into insecurity that I had. Yeah. Because I had, and this is not to even like pump myself up, but I had never experienced rejection. And so that was my...
I mean, I'm looking at your face, so I don't think you're wrong. I'm sure you weren't used to that.
I had never... Okay.
Hey.
Because I had never... Okay, sir.
All right. I just need y'all to know I love my wife. You know what I'm saying? And but okay, go ahead. Because I was gonna cut you off and I'm gonna jump in, but no.
Because I had never experienced that, and because granted, I was in spaces where like that was kind of just like what was happening.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of was. I had always felt like, and you never know, like if you live in a certain space, you never know like this actually probably isn't as normal as you're making it to seem. It's just your normal. I had never known being in a space where there wasn't someone who I was attracted to and they weren't attracted to me.
Yeah.
And because that was kind of the case, I'm like, okay, well, we're married now and we're attracted to each other. So that means that we should just be all over the place. And now you're like, no. And you would either share like clear hesitation, or when you started to confess like that you had watched porn, my feelings were hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like you mentioned that made you insecure. On my side, I'm just like, no, I do still find you attractive. I do still want you, but
you think I'm ugly.
And that's what you thought, but that wasn't the case, right? So now there's a extra pressure that I'm not expecting, because the other piece is this. I thought when I got married, I was going to want sex all the time as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't for whatever reason, right? But I think it's because, again, my mind was so warped. And now there's a different type of pressure that I feel like I'm getting in marriage.
That's true.
Again, porn feels like the safe space. Now, again, this is me thinking in hindsight. In the moment back then, I don't realize any of this. My body is just responding to what it's used to, and all these sorts of things, right? I'm like, oh, yo, she wants it all the time.
And I'm like, this is a gift.
Man. Listen, never mind. I almost said something that was going to be really inappropriate.
Okay.
This is the Milk and Honey podcast. This is a Tyler's podcast, so I will behave.
Amen. But also with that too, granted, along with me in college, I couldn't stay faithful to anybody either. Yeah. That was also a thing. Like, I was cheating all the time. And
have you? Nope, I'm not going to ask that question either, because it's your podcast.
What are we going to ask?
Nope, I ain't going to ask it. Not in front of these good people.
So, because
you said you was cheating all the time.
I was.
Okay.
So
I just know sometimes we bring our past into our marriage, and I just wanted to know.
So when God said, "Here, I have a husband for you," I was very much like, I don't deserve to have a husband.
Oh, wow.
Because I know the life that I was living.
Yeah.
So I was like, God, because I know I don't deserve it, and because I know the life that I was living, I want your help to be as completely transformed of who I am with my husband.
That's good.
Where I don't have an eye, and I feel like he's actually done that. Like, don't have an eye for anyone else, and I am only focused on him, and that's just it. Because I was living a life that really wasn't even. I was living a way that wasn't even like natural to me.
Yeah.
Like me not having sex in high school and not really desiring it. Like that was like me. Like sex is not on the top of my priority list, but I made it and I forced it because that was the environment. You end up being a product of your environment.
Yeah.
So that was me. But I was like, well, let me just be who I really am and who you want me to be in our marriage. And he was doing that.
Yeah.
But I was also taking in characteristics and habits of who I had become into the marriage. And while you would be like, you're coming on a little aggressive, I'd be like, aggressive? What do you mean?
I'm setting it out. I'm your wife. I'm supposed to.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's crazy how you just never know what to expect once you get into marriage. And especially in this realm. And even when we're talking about, it's probably not as uncommon as we would think.
Right.
And it's not as unique to our story as we think. So like, how do you think we've kind of like grown past it, or do you think we've grown past it? Like, what do you?
So I'll speak for myself. So there's been a lot of internal things where, because I was feeling like rejected and all the things, I would be, truthfully, on my side, I'd be like, what do you mean? Like all the whoever, we're fine with it. Why is it the one? And I'd be kind of complaining to God, like, why is the one that you gave me like having an issue, or whatever. And so then there came a point where God was like, I want you to write down all the men that you've had sex with.
Oh, glory.
And as I was doing that, there were It sounds so bad. The list was just a little lengthy.
Okay.
And some people I had to write the description like, oh, the guy who was waiting on us at Chili's. Like, I can't remember.
Because you didn't remember the name.
Can't remember the name.
Yeah.
And because that was the truth of the matter, then God was like, I want you to pray and come against the soul tie that you have made with these men.
Yeah.
Because what I was doing was expecting you to be just like them. And I was bringing old me into a new space and expecting you to be them. And then I'm complaining that you're not them.
Yeah.
And wasn't even seeing you. Essentially, I wasn't seeing you as a person. I'm grouping you in a space where you're just like all men want to have sex. So you're just them. And it wasn't until I don't know how long until I realized like men have feelings too. And I really rejected the reality of that because of my experience. Mm-hmm. And because I would be like, well, if I know that I offer sex to this person, they're going to want it. So they only are confirming what I believe about men. Yeah. So if I'm offering it to you and you're rejecting it, I don't understand. Yeah. Because you're not fitting into the box that I've now created men to be. Yeah. So as I made this list of men and I'm praying about it, and there would even be moments where I'm just like washing dishes and God would bring another name to me and I'd be like, dang, I didn't write that one down.
Lord have mercy.
I forgot about that one. And be praying about that. And then God was like, the same way that you're upset with John and his rejection, you're also you're you're also rejecting him because you're not seeing him in who he is too.
You were rejecting me.
Even in my pursuit of you, I was rejecting you. Ooh. Which is crazy.
That's heavy.
And that's besides the spiritual pieces too, that were happening as well. But in me recognizing that, then I had to humble myself and realize that I'm not the better one in the intimacy piece of our marriage, even though I thought that I was.
Because you wasn't cheating and watching porn.
Yeah.
And because you were putting it on a platter.
Yeah.
Anytime
I
wanted. Yeah. Yeah. And see, I think for me, because the porn thing was a issue for so long, I had to learn to say, this thing is affecting somebody more than just me.
Oh yeah, because I would be crying.
Yeah.
I'd cry and I'd cry.
And again, I thought that getting married, I was gonna be over it and past it or whatever. I was warned. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell y'all who warned me. His name is Pastor Willie Peterson. At the time, he was just minister, Reverend Peterson. He hadn't started his church yet. Mm-hmm. And he told me and a group of guys, hey, man, if you struggle with porn, marriage is not going to help you no longer watch porn. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't believe him because I was holy. I was saved. Mm-hmm. And I was going into marriage for the right reasons. And sure enough, I fell back into that temptation, and I had to grow to learn and just be like, okay, God, this thing that I've struggled with for so long is now affecting somebody other than just myself.
And then it created a division because before we even got married, you told me you had an issue with porn. Like you told me like porn was a thing.
I did.
But I also had I'm still newly saved, so when you told me, I was like, oh. No biggie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I lived my life.
No biggie was a biggie lie because the moment I told her, y'all.
At that point.
Man, it was a thing. But again, let me be very clear. Your reaction, your response to me confessing it to you was not wrong. You should have been hurt. You should have felt the type of way about it, right? Yeah. But I just didn't anticipate that because I thought to myself when you said no big deal, I was like, oh, man, see, I knew God gave me the right one because she's not gonna trip. Like she's a saint. She's straight from heaven, right? Because she's gonna be gracious and all this kind of stuff.
All the
if
things.
I just so happens, and sure enough, She wasn't the same as I thought she was. Man, she bugged out on me. No, I'm joking. But like, but that even too, even like to this day, when it's a temptation and it's a struggle, I have to be conscious of not only am I sinning against God, but I'm sinning against my spouse. And how do I reassure you that I love you when I may give in to temptation, all these sorts of things. Because one of the biggest things that I used to try to convince you of, because you said it would cause you insecurity, the bigger issue was like, yo, me watching and giving into this temptation has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with it. Does have nothing to do with how you look, how I think about you, what you're doing, what you're not doing. None of that is playing a part in this struggle that I have. Now, somebody may argue, well, maybe if you viewed her differently, it would help you to no longer go that route or whatever. Hey, sure, maybe right. That's maybe another conversation for another day. But that was a thing that I always would try to convince you of. And I remember us having a conversation in our marriage where you said to me, like, I still want to know that you love me even when you do something foolish.
Yeah.
And that's been one of my goals always, of not even just when temptation comes, but just in general of, hey, no matter what goes on, no matter what happens, no, I still do love you. And I'm grateful that God gave me you.
Amen.
The harder part is just having to do it after I let my guard down. I've given into this temptation and I don't want to keep it a secret. So I got to come and tell you and let you know. So boom, now you know. How do I then affirm you? Even though my actions say one thing, but affirm you that, hey, I still love you. This had nothing to do with you. It's not because you're not doing your duties as a wife. It's just that your husband did something dumb.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I had to learn too, because in the midst of it, while I'm praying, I'm like, God, like, I want him to stop. Like, this is hurting me, everything like that. First, God, when you're praying about your spouse, God is going to be like, okay, well, let's put up a mirror first while you're praying about your spouse. And even though you were wrong for what you're doing, God is like, we'll take care of this. We'll talk about this, but let's look at you first. Okay. So first off, that's where God showed me, like, you have an addiction. Like, you aren't even coming to your husband in love. While you want him to be operating in love, you're not even coming, because you have jacked yourself up so much by your actions beforehand that you don't even realize, like, how unhealed you are from your trauma and your experiences and the things that you've done. And you just figure you can just do the same thing in your marriage, where you are also undefiled in your marriage bed too. And so that was one thing that I had to repent and pray about and just ask God to show me who I am too. The more that I did that, then God was like, now let's start to look at your husband. And so then there was one day when you had confessed to me, and I was just like, man, like, this is like the 10th time he told
Hey, we ain't got to throw numbers out there. That's wild. Hey, yo.
And I'm like,
maybe these folks thought that a year ago was the 3rd time. You said it was 10 in the first couple months. Tyler, what are you doing? I thought we were protecting each other in this space. Okay. But I guess it's cool. It's your podcast. You can say whatever you want.
That is not okay. So I'm praying and I'm like, God, like, I'm hurt. I feel this way. I feel rejected. I feel unloved. I feel unthought about, this and that. And as loud as the Lord could be, he said, me too.
Oh my.
And again,
that's it.
God was like, just showed me I'm making everything about myself and I'm not coming in humility. And it's almost like God had to be like, listen, you're elevating yourself as if you are the one that is hurt, but it's really about my relationship with my son before it's about his relationship with you. And so I'm repenting, even though I'm like, but he's the one that's, but now I feel bad. Like, why did I have to keep feeling bad about how I feel when he's the one who did whatever? So again, posture makes a really big difference.
It does.
So after repenting there and being like, okay, God, like, I'm not focusing on his relationship with you. I'm focusing on me as his wife. Then I started to pray and ask, help me to see John the way that you do. Because the way that I'm seeing him, You already showed me that I'm not seeing him in love. I'm not seeing him as outside of how I've seen other men. I'm not seeing him just the right way. How do you see him? And then from there came the compassion for what you clearly were having a struggle with, where my prayers for you changed. And it wasn't so much so that I wouldn't be hurt, that I wouldn't be in pain, but more so for your own personal walk with the Lord and your intimacy with him. And that played a big shift for me in our marriage. As far as things like sexually too.
And so like you mentioned something about, because you had like an addiction, and first off, thank you for sharing all that, because that's really transparent. That's really, really transparent. But I also think it's very, very helpful for those that'll be listening. Because I remember even when you would share these things with me, it would be beneficial for me. Because I'm like, dang, man, this is actually really, really good. I think what ultimately was happening too for both of us in the beginning was we were both using each other in a way. And not realizing. Again, we're trying to do the best that we can as, young believers, newly saved, trying to do this thing right, but we were really using each other. Because for me, I think on my side, it was, though I love her and though I find her attractive, all these sorts of things, I'm using her as the thing that keeps me from doing the sin, as opposed to sex being this thing that we do because we love each other. Right?
I've never known what love in sex was.
But and I think the thing is this, I think most people don't. I think most people aren't having these type of conversations and interactions, and we're really just kind of doing this thing thinking that we're doing it God's way, and we're not. Because again, we thought we were doing it the right way because we were both saved and we were having sex inside of marriage or whatever the case may be. But we had brought so much sexual baggage and trauma into the relationship that God wasn't even the focus of our sex life.
And I think too,
and that is important. That's a learned thing. You got to grow into that or whatever. But you got to also move that to the forefront of your mind, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, God allowed us to be married, so He don't want us to have sex outside of marriage. So let's just make sure we do it in marriage."
And I figured even before we got married, we didn't have sex with each other. So it was like, oh, like we did a great job. We didn't have sex before married. Like at least with each other.
Right.
So we're doing right.
Over.
It's almost
our
like
process was our process was pure.
No, we're both dirty. We just haven't put it on each other.
We just put each other's dirt on each other. That's it.
And so because of that, and because sex has just been like a really big thing, it even has had me to look at like just how sexual our world is. And it's
everywhere.
How the enemy will just downplay everywhere. Sex so much, and how everything is so sexually drawn, and sex sells and all this stuff, where we downplay how serious God has sex to be. And that's why that is the only sin where you sin against your own self.
That's what it says.
With sex, being mistreated and all the things. And so recognizing that that's a huge attack with people in general, but especially in marriage. And I think I said this not too long ago, but like someone said, like the devil will let you have sex with everyone but outside of marriage, but once you're married, you won't want to have it.
Man, that's good though, because again, we don't take, as believers, we take sex outside of marriage to be a very, very serious thing, but we don't take sex in marriage as serious as we should. And I think we're very lackadaisical about it, and we don't talk about it, and we don't address certain things.
And people have questions like, "Can I still do this? Can I just do this?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, you do whatever you want because that's your husband and this is your wife or whatever." But there is no intentional praying about what is God actually pleased with, and where did you learn these things from?
Because that's the piece, addressing the sexual baggage from our past. Somebody needs to hear this. I don't know why I feel like this on my heart, but somebody needs to hear this. Getting married and having sex with your spouse is not the same as repenting from your past sex life.
It's not.
And I think a lot of people, as opposed to actually going before God and repenting for their past sex life, before marriage, they just be like, well, God, you're pleased now because I'm married and I'm having sex with my spouse and I'm doing it within marriage. No, it has to be addressed, because like you said, we're just going to bring all of that into our marriage, and God is like, y'all haven't addressed this thing yet.
Yeah.
And that can be problematic. I just want to read the scripture here, because again, if we don't teach Bible, we're teaching nonsense. Or if we don't talk Bible, we're talking nonsense. I think about what I wish I would have done in the first place, to where we wouldn't necessarily have to have these conversations. Again, God is gracious and all things work together for the good, right? Mm-hmm. We say it all the time, but I've heard this scripture a lot of times, and I feel like I've heard it the most over the past couple of years, but Job 31:1, where Job says, I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then can I look at a virgin? And I just think, like, I really wish this was my posture just all of my life, right? Because if I had made this covenant with my eyes, which is really a covenant with God ultimately too, right? Mm-hmm. It's the keeping with the true love waits purity thing that I did before, right? Like, I wish that this would have been my heart posture and my mindset, to where I wouldn't have pursued women that weren't my wife. I wouldn't have ended up in situations to have my heart broke. I wouldn't have looked upon women in lust and pornography, to where all these things affected the one thing that God was giving me, which was you. Mm-hmm. To where our sex life would have been in a much better space, which ultimately would have just had our marriage in a much better space. I just think this is super, super important, because we're talking about covenants, right? Yeah. We're talking about all the covenants we've made with people that we had sex with in our past, and only one covenant, well, two technically, but only one covenant is actually mattering, and that's the one that you make with your spouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that too, like, the scripture that I thought of before we started this was, for myself, was blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. The reason why that is that because I was living in a state of grief that I didn't let myself be in. And I've tried to find comfort or control, but control was my way of trying to find comfort. And because for one, I was feeling wanted by these other men. So I guess like that was like a thing. And so finding comfort in that, along with other stuff, because I was smoking weed and drinking all this stuff too. But aside from that, though, that's where I was seeking comfort. But I was mourning and I was in grief. And what I had experienced was just something that I was not dealing with properly. And had I known the Lord, first off, but had I really sat with God, and even now, even being married and after getting saved and everything, really recognizing that I've been grieving this entire time, and I've just been managing my grief through what I was doing, then I would have found real comfort, which I have now, which I'm grateful for. And it's still a processing comfort.
Yeah.
But that was something that I know for a fact, like, I know having to know God as comforter has been a really big shift for me too. And just recognize it, because I never had a moment where I was like mad at God because of what happened. Yeah, that's never been a thing. But I don't think I saw him as the one that will comfort from what had happened with me. And I was even seeking comfort from you, because the same way that I was using other men to try to heal that, I was now expecting you to do the same thing too. Yeah, without actually addressing the real problem, and only putting like the smallest of band-aids on a huge issue that was really for God.
Yeah, I think it's important, as I guess we kind of wrap up, your spouse can't heal you. Your marriage can't heal you. It can be a space of healing, right? But it's a space that God is using, and we have to run to God. Again, like she mentioned, she's looking to me, and even I was looking to her with, again, hoping that being married would deliver me from the struggle of temptation and pornography and things like that. And again, just hoping that we would be something for each other that ultimately God has been trying to be from day one.
And I'm gonna say this too, along with it, and this is for women and men.
Okay.
with trauma comes a lot of shame. And you start to feel kind of like ashamed of what you've experienced, and not sure if even your marriage is a safe space. So then you do end up going into old habits and stuff. Having to really like not look at because that was a struggle I had. Like I've told you my issues, so you should know how to help me.
Yeah.
You should know that this triggers me. You should know that this affects me in this way.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He's not a counselor.
I still don't. I still do not.
And I would feel so rejected even in that. Like, I told you how I feel. I told you, and he'd be like, I don't know. And he's still learning his own feelings.
Yeah.
So
I am.
There's that. So there could be shame in what you've experienced, and shame in even not feeling like you're seen or understood or fully known. But there is one who does fully know you. There is one who fully sees you, who understands in all the things, and really pressing into the God who knows you will allow for your marriage to only get the overflow of what you're supposed to be getting from the Lord.
Yeah.
Instead of you expecting all your healing to come from your spouse or from your marriage. Because really, marriage is what takes a lot of work, where you need God anyway. Marriage is not your fortress.
Yeah, it's not.
God is.
It is not your strong tower. It is not.
It's not.
It is not.
And
it's your deathbed. My God.
And I had to get to a place of recognizing that even though this is who God chose for me to be married to, and we did all the things as right as we thought that we should, it doesn't replace who God is meant to be.
It is not meant to do that at all.
And your spouse is not. And I would be like, God, isn't he in charge of me? Like, isn't he supposed to be my covering? Isn't he supposed to be all this stuff? But God is also like, but he's still growing too.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be his help. And are you helping him to even be these things?
Hello.
That he needs to be, not just for you, but just for anybody. And so,
and I have to, and as the husband, I have to remember that initially my help was Psalm 121. My help comes from the Lord first, right? So
that was something that I had to come to a real realization in, because even though God may reveal some things in you, doesn't mean he just wants you to take it and then go. He's like, no, like, sit with me.
Yeah, let's talk.
Now that I showed you this, and let's heal from this situation, so that you can operate as I've created you to be, as a wife, as a mom, as a friend, as a whoever, for who I've put in your life.
Yeah, that's it. I encourage someone, grab hands with your spouse and go to the healer together. Support your significant other on their healing journey, because the Bible is very clear. It is not good that man should be alone.
Yes. And here's a prayer prompt. We don't do this, but I think this should be a good
Come on, prayer prompt.
Asking the Lord, help me to be the spouse that my spouse needs. And
that's
not so that they could be who I need, because we're always looking for what we need all the time.
That's good.
But God already knows what you need. And he probably needs you to be who your spouse needs, because you reap what you sow. And if you're giving and you're pouring out cheerfully to your spouse, regardless of how you think they need to do better for you, you will return that back, or you will get a return back in some way, shape, or form when you least expect it, the less you put your focus on yourself.
That's good. That's good. Hey, this is Milk and Honey.
Yeah.
This is the tallest podcast. I just so happen to do it with her.
Is this every time?
I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful that they get to take this journey with us. And we pray that they have been blessed in it. We can't wait for y'all to continue to do this with us. We got more episodes to come. Yeah. We'll see y'all next time. We love y'all.
Bye.